Well, thanks there ever so much to Mark Chapman. Speaking to Sam Warburton there, all of that chat, yes, there will be plenty about Wales, because we're coming to you live now from the Stade de France. We'll be bringing you commentary of France against Wales, as the whole of the Stade de France is now on its feet, as it marks, first of all, rugby being against racism, but also as they remember one of their own, in Federico Martin Aramburu, and the whole of the stadium is on their feet to give him a round of applause after passing away last year. We are listening to 5 Sports Extra. You will be hearing commentary coming up very shortly of France against Wales. But first of all, there will be the anthems. Alongside me for this one will be Paul Grayson, former England fly half, as they are just getting ready. And of course, first of all, it will be Land of Our Fathers. Six Nations final day continues here on 5 Sports Extra. Next, the French national anthem.
Mesdames, Messieurs, en l'honneur de l'équipe de France, la Marseillaise.
Was on their feet for that one, and you just can't help thinking, whenever you hear that anthem, what is that going to be like come September and October when the World Cup is right here? But we're going to focus on all things Six Nations to be completed first. Of course, France, they are still within a shot of the title. Destiny is ultimately in Ireland's hands, but France, all they can do is win here today against Wales. Wales, of course, will be hoping to save face and put in a big performance after only a win against Italy to their name so far in this championship. Alongside me, former England fly half, Paul Grayson. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Right then, we've established that my French is terrible today, more of that later. But how are you feeling about this one? There is just a sort of sense around this stadium, this is a French procession.
Yeah, it's got that end of term feel, hasn't it, at school, when everyone's a bit loose, the teachers don't enforce the rules quite like they do.
Should we play board games?
Bring your own toys in and all that business. But it does feel like, as we were saying before on 5 Live, that France's main mission in this Six Nations, yes, they want to win it, but the big game for them was beating England at Twickenham, getting rid of that 18-year losing streak in the Six Nations, which they did with a grandstand performance which elevates them They played as well as we know they can and put England to the sword. So the stadium is full of happy people, even though it's highly unlikely they'll win the championship, with the expectation that Wales will come, try hard, they get pummeled.
And I have to say, they're just taking the big flag off the pitch at the moment. On the flag, it read "United in a Dream," and I think everyone who's in this stadium knows what that dream is. But let's run you through the lineups then for Wales. 6 changes by head coach Warren Gatland to the side that beat Wales last week. Lewis Rees-Zammit, he's going to start at 15. Then onto the wings, it's Josh Adams and Rio Dyer. They are unchanged. Completely new centre partnership, Nick Tompkins and George North. Dan Biggar returns at fly half. He'll team up with Rhys Webb. Then into the forwards, Wyn Jones, Ken Owens and Thomas Francis make up the Wales front row. Adam Beard is joined by Alan Wyn-Jones, who returns to wear 5. And Aaron Wainwright, he is back after that injury to Jack Morgan, so he's in at 6 with Justin Tipuric. And Taulupe Faletau, who we should say is winning his 100th cap today for Wales. Huge achievement for him. Moving on to France, they're just doing a little bit on the pitch at the moment with someone who's been given the honour of kicking the ball before we get underway. It's all a little bit strange, but bear with us. Thomas Ramos is at full-back for France. Then we've got Damien Penaud and Ethan Demortier on the wings, with Danty and Ficou in the centres. Ontomac and Dupont and the half-backs unchanged for them now. Into the front row by Marchand and Antonio. Antonio, he is the returning player from suspension, just 1 or 2 changes. Flamand and Taufifenua, and it is Taufifenua who's coming in for the injured Paul Valemsa, and the back row made up of Cro, Olivon and Aldrit, as we are underway now at the Stade de France, travelling from right to left in this first half. It's Wales who kicked us off, and it's France who had the ball deep inside of their own 22, taken on by Aldrit. Ball comes back in the end, and it's going to be hacked away down this near side by Ramos and gathered in the end by Rees-Zammit. So no touch found there, and it's Rees-Zammit who has the ball inside of the French half of the field, and it's Wales attacking 10 metres inside of the French half. 0-0, 30 seconds played here and 5 Sports Extra as the band plays at the Stade de France. The party already underway, but certainly a match to play, as the Welsh centurion, the 8th man in a Welsh shirt to achieve 100 caps, takes the ball into contact, and it's a penalty there. I think they're saying in from the side there by France. Early penalty opportunity for Wales. Paul Grayson.
Yes, Gregory Aldrit just slightly in front of the back foot as he went to. We saw last week how immense he is over the ball. They've got a number of jackal experts in their team, France. He got it wrong on that occasion. Good carry from Alan Wyn-Jones. Penalty from Dan Biggar, and he has lasered it to within 5 metres of the French line. Great kick.
Let's be controversial early on. We've only got a minute on the clock. Was that within Dan Biggar's range to kick a goal?
Yeah, but you feel they're not going to win by kicking goals. They've got to throw caution to the wind, go for everything.
Well, they've now got a line out 5 metres from the French line. Early days here in this match. Opportunity for Wales. Owens goes short towards the front, taken by Beard. And the shove is on now by Wales. 3 metres left to travel to get to the French try line. It's being sucked in there. It is moving in the right direction. It's still Wales going forward. They're looking good for this at the moment. Rhys Webb knows exactly where that ball is. It's flopped down on the floor. It looks like Ken Owens might have just tried to dive for the line there. Is it over? Our referee, is he going to go and have a word with this touch judge? They're going to have a little conversation about what they've seen. Are they going to review? No, goal line dropout, France a touchdown.
Well, if France wanted an early reminder that there's massive experience in this Welsh team, and they'll be hurting from what's going on the pitch and off the pitch at home. Strong driving more from Wales. Got it going forward, moved it the 5 metres, got right to the line and were just repelled. So if France wanted a quick look at what Wales are capable of, they just got it.
Once again, the ball's going to come down to Taulupe Faletau, Cardiff man. Already on his second big carry of the afternoon. Finds Alan Wyn-Jones, happy to expose his left shoulder. 2 shoulders who've been through an awful lot in his time in that red shirt. 158th cap for him today. Ball gathered by Webb. What a performance he put in last week against Italy. Player of the match. It was hard to take your eyes off him at times. Relishing his opportunity back in a starting jersey for Wales. Rees-Zammit, he's come into the line. He pushes forward, and it's still Wales outside of the French 22, 10 metres from the far side touch, and Wales just about holding on to their ball. Back through the middle, Tompkins has it at the moment. He tries to run out of a little bit of trouble. He Wayne have thought he's played quite enough throughout the Six Nations as he would like, the Saracens man. Wainwright manages to get to Webb. Webb is refusing to be tackled, takes about 2 French players to bring him down to the turf, and this is still Welsh ball. The Stade de France is virtually silenced in this Welsh attack. They are not used to seeing this. This is good from Wales. France need to turn up to their own party. 10 metres left to go, still 0-0 here, 3 minutes on the clock, but it's all about the team in red. And finally the cheer goes up. We're playing advantage as well now to Wales. They're trying to push towards this near side. Rees-Zammit comes away. He can't get the pass to Dyer. Can he? No, he can't. They will come back for the penalty. France offside.
Good from Wales, playing the front line of attack. They're not going out the back too much. Dan Biggar relatively flat. Tompkins showing good footwork. And a lovely offload from Alan Wynne-Jones to get them on the outside, and a strong carry from Wainwright. All Wales at the moment.
It is all Wales, and once again, a kickable penalty for Dan Biggar. They've decided to go for touch. This is where Wales need to be careful, because they're spending a huge amount of time now down in the French 22, and this has been their problem throughout the Six Nations. They don't come away with points. They've got to get a score here. If the ball is taken away by France and pumped down the other end of the field, that's nearly 5 minutes they have wasted. Waiting for the ball to come in by Ken Owens. Short up the front again. Oh, that was a lovely little pop to the back pod that was waiting from Faletau. Really nice work there from Wales. Smart move that came off. France have just about managed to hold this shove, but it is still Wales who are trying to go. Couple of blue players recycled out the back. Webb knows he's going to have to use the backs eventually. It's crabbing forwards and now turning. Is that one going to get stuck in there? The warnings are coming in by our Australian referee Nick Berry to use the ball. It does come out. Tompkins has it. He's going to be smothered by blue shirts for his efforts.
Tackle! Release!
The warning they're going to the French players to let go of Tompkins, let him get down to the ground. There's lots of players there waiting. It's Faletau. They go for the biggest object they can find to try and move that forward, Wales. 0-0 here. Still red shirts, pounding away at the line. They had a couple of line-outs. They need these points badly, Wales. Not just for this game, but just to prove that they can have this time on the ball and come away with exactly what they want. Around the corner goes Tipperick. Welsh ball, pick and go round the corner again. This is lovely patience from the Welsh. This is really strong. It's also good discipline, though, from France. They're about a metre short of the line. They're going to deploy the backs. Tompkins went on his own, and the French defence read it well. They cut back inside. It's Dan Biggar now going. Welsh ball, penalty advantage then. France offside. They've got a free shot here, Wales. They don't get quick ball, though. It's a slightly messy cross-field kick. It's going to be gathered by Rees-Zammit. He's a little bit isolated on his own. He's going to be absolutely overcome by blue shirts. They'll come back for the penalty once again.
You could see what Wales were trying to do. Get one of those pick and goes with some momentum and then go to the backs. Fortunately, it was a messy pass, and then Tompkins stepped back inside, got monstered by Ficou. Dan Biggar standing next to the referee, holding the ball as we await the decision, because he is 5 yards right to the posts. He turns around and belts it into touch. They go again.
Okay, 3 kickable penalties for Wales, and the good news is that you just heard our referee Nick Berry there give a warning to France. And that will be significant. If another penalty is given away, someone could be going to the bin. So
it's a great start from Wales. As you said, the key word there, patience. Yes, they turned down the points, but they're still here. They don't want 3, they want 7.
Alan Wynne-Jones, big man at the front, goes up, gets the ball, and France know what's coming now each time. This Wales push drive, it's got good legs on it. That's going really well. Has that been touched down? Faletau was almost like a dummy. And they've still got the ball here, Wales. They need to go quickly. Oh, it's brilliant! They do get the try. They do go over through George North. Wales waited and waited, and they got it slap bang underneath the post. Brilliant.
The maul worked well and then split, and then it got virtually to the line. And then Rhys Webb, passing from the floor, absolutely whipped out a ball that went across the front of 3 players. Static decoys landed in the arms of George North, who strolled under the post. I'm just wondering, George North scoring has probably saved France from a yellow card. It looked like they'd infringed to stop that maul, but they scored. So actually, from their point of view, it might not be the worst outcome.
Well done, guys.
Very true. Right then, conversion added by Dan Bigger. He's 1 from 1 with the boot. And hey, how's this for a scoreline? France 0, Wales 7. We said a lot in the build-up to this fixture. The days have gone where you say what kind of French team has turned up. Well, they're going to have to prove that now. They've been napping for the opening 10 minutes of this fixture. Now's a good time for them to wake up. And who's going to do it? Ontemak is going to get them back underway. So he sends the ball back down into the Welsh half. They haven't been down there since the match begun. I think they've only been down there once before. That's a really good restart from France. It is still going to be Welsh ball, but they're 10 metres from their own line after a lot of pressure coming in there by the home side. Reece Webb goes for the box kick down towards this near side touch. Tracking across is Ramos, uses his tiptoes to stay in touch. Good run up there by Rio Dyer. Really good work by the young man there, taking his opportunity, the Dragons man, in this Six Nations. Scored his first try in the Six Nations as well, just last week against Italy. Fiku now. Popped off ball using the forwards. They're back inside of their own half now, France. They're flirting along the halfway line. Danty now. Only back recently from injury as he's dispatched down to the turf. And Ontemak looks up. The huge human that is Cyril Bay takes it over the Toulouse prop into the Welsh half. And it's a penalty now to France on the halfway line. They're looking quite calm out there, France. There's no panic from them at all, even though they're trailing by 7 points here at the Stade de France. French ball. Antoine Dupont, haven't really seen any of that flair of the left or right boot just yet, but there's a breakaway now by Ontemak. Still Ontemak going forward. A little bit of a show and go. Ball's going to go down to the turf. This is Dupont. Dupont's still going. What a pass out wide! It's going to go to Pedro. Brilliance from France. Absolutely brilliant from nothing. And all of a sudden, after what was a great start from Wales, it's taken one phase of play. France 5, Wales 7, conversion to come.
Stadium on their feet. They know they're seeing greatness in this team, totally invested in it. It started from a box kick from Wales. Ontemak was involved in tidying it up with Ramos. Fiku stepped into first receiver, played the next 2 phases whilst they got their forwards running. Then Ontemak got himself back, recycled himself, got himself on the ball. Show and go makes the break. A lovely little dummy switch with Dupont. Kept his arms free, got the ball to Dupont, who was in the 22. He had a 25-metre pass to make to Pinot on the right wing. Not a problem.
We talked a lot last week about Dupont's left and right feet. He doesn't care, he'll chuck the passes that distance as well. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. I think we've praised that man as much as we physically can, and yet he still keeps giving as Thomas Ramos just lines up this conversion here for France. And that's nothing to take away from the Welsh try, which was great within itself, but all of a sudden from nothing, France on the scoreboard. 44 metres out here, this kick from Ramos to level proceedings. Oh, he doesn't even blink. I mean, you're a kicking coach. That's a pretty damn good strike of the ball for conversion.
Not a fat lot can go wrong with Ramos's technique. Very good kicker and a brilliant second playmaker in the French backfield. Real rugby intellect, but metronomic off the tee.
Well, their goal kicking throughout this tournament, it's been above average. It hasn't been the best. You wouldn't be surprised that's gone to Ireland, but goal kicking 81% for France in this Six Nations. Not so good for Wales, down at 73%, as it's now France 7, Wales 7. Nearly 12 minutes on the clock at the Stade de France. And it's going to be French ball inside of their own 22, waiting for it to be slowly dragged back by Dupont. Back of the ruck, he goes for his right boot on this occasion, comes down towards this near side of the field. It fans touch, and I think that did touch one of the water boys on the near side, so there'll be no chance to take a quick line out, and they'll restart then with a Welsh line out. Yep.
Just take it for granted that once France set up for a clearing box kick, as Wales go quickly, Dupont gets them over the halfway line relentlessly. It's amazing.
And it's Wales who are pushing now towards the far side of the field after that quick line out. I think they've run out of track on the far side. They've done really well to keep that ball inside of the pitch. Loose on the floor, gathered eventually by Wales. And we get to see Thomas Francis on the ball, just make another couple of metres. So Wales now attacking between the French 10 and the 22 at the right end of the field. Ball goes back in the end. Tompkins on it once again, a little bit of footwork. He's got support coming in from his captain, Owens. He goes down to the ground. Gathered again by Webb. Oh, we saw this in the Italy game. Careful of that bounce of the ball. It's really nice there from Webb. He's really happy to take those chances. He's always scanning to see where that winger is hanging out in defence when Wales are attacking. France have taken it quickly, though. We'll comment on that in a second, as it's taken now by Aldreet. France not interested at all in any kind of constructed line out there. And we must remind ourselves that a lot of the tries that France have scored, they are just from broken play, when they've managed to steal the ball and just have come on the counter. It's fascinating to see how perhaps they are one of the teams leading the way in what is the trend in rugby union, as we now have a line out to Wales inside of the French half between the 10 and the 22.
It's not a complex algorithm. Push the ball far up the field, win the kicking battles. When you get your opportunity, strike. France have just got it nailed.
7-all, Wales on the ball between the 10 and the 22, attacking at the French end of the field. Nice footwork coming in by Wainwright. He's replaced Jack Morgan, who's injured for this fixture. Always remember with Aaron Wainwright, he didn't start playing his rugby till he was in quite his latter years. As the ball is down on the ground inside of the French 22, comes back now, still Welsh ball. This is a really strong performance from Wales. I know that we're waxing lyrical about France, but let's not take that away. It's been hand on it by French players who are playing advantage now to Wales. I don't know if Wales would quite like a scrum in the middle of the field, as another French hand touches it. He set advantage over. Oh, that is harsh on Wales, that is, as the ball comes back once again. Somehow Wales have managed to hold on to it, but they're pushing towards their own line. And we're going to come back, I think, for a penalty.
Time off.
Let's listen to the ref.
Joe, we're going to need to put this up, please. Because I've got that as seen that differently live. Can we put it up, please?
Yeah. Angles coming up now.
Well, they are going to replay on the big screen there, the French hands and where they
it's on the
touched
screen now. Number 3 blue.
Oh, it's Winnie Antonio.
If you see this is a genuine attempt to catch.
Yeah.
Genuine attempt to catch is what you're looking for.
I don't see that. I don't see
Genuine
that.
attempt, I agree.
Yeah.
Scrum only.
So we're going to start back with the scrum. So, Anton, I'll explain it, Ken. Look, that's not a deliberate knock forward. Okay, he's trying to catch that ball. We're going to restart with the scrum for the knock on to Red over here.
Is the head not knocked on?
No, he's knocked it forward and into the head.
I agree.
Okay.
Scrum.
I'd say that's pretty good refereeing.
It'll do for me.
genuine.
French needs a bit of a brush up, but
Always. Well, just a reminder, it's our Australian referee, Nick Berry, who's the main voice that you'll hear throughout this fixture. Joy Neville from Ireland is the television match official, and Berry is being supported by Andrew Brace of Ireland and Christoph Ridley of England. Right then.
Yeah.
Had a different referee for every match in this Six Nations. You'd think it's a World Cup year or something.
everybody needs to get ready.
They certainly do.
Great position for Wales, though. Inside the 22. Smack bang in the middle of the field, back split either side, solid scrum. Let's see what they got.
Score still even then at the Stade de France, 7 apiece, 15 minutes on the clock. And here comes the scrum, and now that's folded on itself. The referee does eventually blow his whistle. It took a long time then, and it's collapsed on this near side. It was Andrew Brace who was watching that. He is feeding something in, but it's I don't think it's anything of any significance. And so they will pack down once again. It's the Welsh loose side, which is Wyn Jones going up against Winnie Antonio, who's winning his 50th cap today.
Yeah, the information I'm getting, you need to bring your feet up underneath, you need to get your higher as well. Okay, there's the mark, guys, let's do it again.
That's the first look. Quick explanation from the referee. Antonio too long,
Patient, guys.
Jones too low. Get it organised, boys.
Keep that high up, okay.
Both myself and Paul Grayson are scrum experts, is the good news that everyone wants to hear today. There's a lot of talk last week about break feet as well. No mention of that, because that does help steady things as well. But the referee has come towards this near side now. So they're having a look. Now, I don't know much about scrums, but I do know that's a penalty to France. Antonio just pushing there, and there was nothing that Wyn Jones could do about it.
No, and the ball had to go in because the scrum was stable. Couldn't see a strike from Ken Owens, and as soon as the ball went in, Antonio first straight, and then once he'd slightly crumpled Jones in on the angle, obvious penalty from the referee.
Winnie Antonio playing his rugby now at La Rochelle, 32 years old. There's a question for you, Paul Grayson. In your time as a coach, when we look at these big men in the front row, how do they balance out their size and weight with actually maintaining fitness around the field? I know a lot of the front row, they tend to play around 50 minutes or so, but how do they balance that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose their unique point of difference. Winnie Antonio is a monster human being with immense strength, so getting them to a point where they're aerobically efficient enough to do all the other bits and pieces and still have enough in their legs to scrum hard is a genuine challenge. So when you get one like Antonio, that's why they get paid the big bucks, the tight heads, to be perfectly honest with you, because their primary job is hard enough on its own without the rest of the game. Yeah,
exactly what Paul Grayson says there. If you want a long-term and well-paid time in rugby, and be a tight head prop. But that was a big tackle that we're going to keep a close eye on. They're playing advantage now to Wales. I think they might review a tackle there by France that went in on Alan Wynne-Jones, and he's very slowly getting up from the field after. I think he's actually injured himself. I mean, he will stand there in the line, but I think they're going to go and look at this. It was a little bit of a concern.
Looked like Fiku just lifted his leg fractionally.
Time's off, guys.
Depending on how
well, they are going to go and look.
Alan Wynne-Jones landed. I mean, it was a slow motion tackle.
She's a 13 blue.
Okay.
It was a slow motion tackle because Jones is such a big bloke. It took Fiku a while to kind of engineer it, but it did look like half a tip tackle.
It is so lazy by Fiku. It's incredible. So lazy.
It definitely puts him in that position. We've got Christoph Westing, a lift, and then a twist.
Well, they're watching Fiku lift one leg.
Yeah, okay, because we don't have the drive, do we? It's a lift, he's got it wrong. Yeah. Okay, so Joy, I'll tell you what we're seeing, okay? We've got a lift and there's a bit of a twist, but he hasn't driven him in there, okay? For that reason, it's a low degree of danger, so it's just a penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that's a big caller by our referee, Nick Berry.
Yeah, that one's a little bit different to the ones down there.
Okay, so it's a penalty against Gail Fiku. Your thoughts, Paul Grayson?
It's interesting, isn't it? They've dealt with that so quickly, and we're looking at it thinking, oh, it might be a yellow card, could even be a red.
Okay, time back on.
But as he turned him, and actually Alan Wynne-Jones got up and sort of held his shoulder, so you know the point of contact. There was no contact with his head or his neck on the ground. And like I said, it was almost a slow motion tackle. It happened very slowly, so there was no kind of pile driving effect from Fiku. He'd have been nervous for a minute though. Yeah,
well, the Racing Centre will be breathing a sigh of relief, but it's Wales who are back in the ascendancy then, as this game remains 7 points apiece, because they're back on the ball inside of the French half, just outside of the French 22. It's a Welsh line out. Ken Owens getting ready to go once again. The Scarlet's man, his 91st cap today. Ball goes towards the middle of that line out. Wayne Wright gathers. He calmly places backwards as the forwards arrive to shore things up. Huge hit going in there onto Lupe Faletau. Absolutely enormous, virtually to his face, to flatten him down to the earth. And he's back on his feet. And somehow he's back on the ball once again, pushes off round the corner, stringing some phases together here. Ball back once again. This is still Welsh ball, and that's a nice little work through into the French 22 there. It's taken a huge amount of effort as they do then decide to go to the backs. Ball goes down to the floor, using the centres now. George North is calling for it. It's an out the back door pass there by Alan Wynne-Jones that arguably was completely unnecessary. And it's France who gather it as a result. Not quite sure what Alan Wynne-Jones was thinking there, but he's given the ball ultimately to France, who restart with a French score.
No, he gambled. He got his arms free. George North is outside him, probably whispering in his ear that if he can get it away, it would have been hard to stop him. And they've got to gamble, Wales. They're playing with great width and good accuracy. It's probably their first mistake in possession, but the hit came in. A low driving tackle from Francois Cross, who got underneath the ball carrier, and then over the top came Olivant, put his shoulder in. Heck of a thump.
Well, and there's a little bit of treatment going on to one of the Welsh players. I think it was George North who received a little bit, and now also down on the floor. That might be Francois Cross giving a bit of treatment there, or is it Gregory Aldric with his scrum cap off?
Yeah, that's Aldric. Fortunately, those two wear exactly the same headgear, which is
very useful.
Annoying.
Yeah, I know. He's taken it off, he's put it back on, and he's ready to scrum down now. Aldric ready to go. No issues whatsoever. No score then. for the last 10 minutes of this game. The 2 tries on 7 minutes. First of all, it was Wales as George North went under the sticks after they had a huge period of pressure inside of the French 22. 3 penalties, none of them gone for goal. They kept kicking for the corner. Eventually, they got their reward. And then the brilliance of Anthems teaming up with Dupont eventually flung out to the right wing where Penaud was waiting with glee to go over once again. Try last week, of course, 2 tries last week for Dami and Penaud, and scoring already again. Right then, ball back for Anthems, right boot from him as he clears down towards the halfway line. Rhys-Samet waits for Wales. As the Gloucester man just goes on a slightly mazy run and gets to the 10 metre. That's a good run there by Rhys-Samet. He's managed to evade a few defenders there. And there's a lot of players out there who are very good at evading defenders, none less than Penaud. That's a penalty on the floor, and it's gone in the French direction after holding from Wales.
Yeah, nice from Faletau in that little... He's the front guy in that little arrowhead. One player inside, one player outside. Passes the ball back into Adam Beard. Beard gets over the gain line, but you lose an inside clearer. And France don't need a second invitation to get their head over the ball. Romain Tafafinu, I think, that time, who's another giant in the second row, replacing Paul Willems for this week. They have got
The ball's at the back with that.
the cupboards are stocked, aren't they?
They really are. And if you think about the start of the Six Nations and the injury lists that they actually had coming into this, it just hasn't affected France at all. I mean, arguably in the opening rounds they had a little bit of chopping and changing, but it hasn't been huge. As the ball does come in from the line out from France, fast sealed of play between the 22 and the 10 inside of the Welsh half. I mean, for the time that they've actually spent down at this end of the field, France have a far better strike rate than Wales, as Danty now has the ball. He's trying to push forward, take every blade of grass with him that he can. Fiku drops the ball behind him. Lovely touch there. Really nice there from Wales. I think it was North who just managed to hack the ball away as it's now pushed towards Dupont. He's back inside of his own 22. Huge tackles raining down on the scrum half. He might not be the World Player of the Year right now, but he's pretty brilliant, and it does take a few players as the first tackle is just bounced off. It is not easy to bounce to Lupe Faletau, but I think that's exactly what Cyril Baille just did. It's a ruck then for France. They're still 2 metres inside of the area of the field they don't want to be. Box kick then from Dupont down this near side. It's not going to clear over halfway, but it's given France a little bit of breathing room. Welsh line out just inside of the French half.
From a tight angle, magnificent kick from Dupont. Fiku took his eyes off the ball. He was looking for a hitch kick and an outside break as France were starting to get on the front foot, and then hacked ahead by Wales. Good recovery though, they're so calm in possession, France.
Ball comes in by Wales. Referee happy that that one's straight. Faletau with the distribution. Webb looks up Tompkins. They're really nice from North. Those two in the centres are working very nicely so far this afternoon. Of course, Mason Grady and Joe Hawkins dropped by Wales for this one. Warren Gatland perhaps not happy to play that very young centre partnership. 2 20-year-olds nonetheless in this game against France, as the ball is just touched through there by Bigger. Tipuric is unable to chase and is very quick to track back and know that the ball is coming back down this near side. Bigger is chasing it, and it has gone out of play on the near side. Arguably, if Bigger had been looking the other way, he might have been able to get the ball, but it's still going to be a Welsh lineup. Yeah,
Dan Bigger came down this near side and trickled the ball in behind. Tipuric realised he was offside and bailed out. He's so aware of what's going on. Sensational player. Wales go quick again.
And Webb sends it down the field. They're keeping a very close eye on where the French backs are standing in the backfield the whole time. It's something that Rhys Webb really exploited against Italy, and clearly it's an area they think they can get change against France.
They don't want to get stuck in a set-piece arm wrestle with the French. So if they've got a chance to get the ball back in play and get moving, they're doing it. It's backfired that time because the ball went into the 22 and then Ramos has rifled it back beyond the Wales 10-metre line. So they're on the edge of their own third. I suspect France might try and get 1 or 2 jumpers in the air here to nick the ball because it's been slowed down because there's an injury to Alan Wynne-Jones who's going off.
I think he's going off for a head injury assessment. So coming on at the moment is Dapper Jenkins of Exeter. He'll slot straight in as Alan Wynne-Jones goes down the tunnel for his HIA. So the time on that is 24 minutes. We'll keep a close eye to see if he reappears. Right then, line out for Wales. They've gone for a 5-man line out, and it goes straight away to Adam Beard. And it was Talupe Faletau who's hanging out in the back line. He then runs it forwards, and it's a penalty straight away to France, holding on the floor by Faletau.
Set piece work well, ball work to Faletau, drives into 2 French defenders. The tackle technique from Cross was unbelievable. And number 2 just hanging around, Julien Marchand just hanging around. He knows that it's going to be a chop tackle so that he can get in over the ball. And once he's there, he is granite. You are not moving him.
I think France are choosing to kick a goal, but we're just going to keep an eye on what they're doing here, because it's Thomas Ramos who has got the ball. I think he is, and they're all hanging around casually. So let me just remind you that earlier today at 12:30 that one kicked off. Scotland managed to beat Italy eventually 26 points to 14, but the last minute of that match was absolutely incredible because Italy were pounding away at the Scottish line. They had penalties, they had scrums, they just could not get the try though. In the end, a breakaway by Scotland down the other end as Blair Kinghorn went over for a hat-trick in the end to actually make that scoreline 26-14. So they got the bonus point and secured 3rd place in the Six Nations table. Of course, it's Ireland who are in charge of the destination of the trophy today. If they win in Dublin, of course, they take the Grand Slam. But if France win and Ireland lose, then it could be very interesting. Right then, penalty taken by France, who now lead for the first time in this fixture at the Stade de France. It's now France 10, Wales 7.
Best part of 26 minutes gone. First time France are in front. They'll have to remember that they are here to win a match and force Ireland to win theirs. They need their bonus point, such as the quality you feel with, what, 55 minutes to go. There's plenty of time for them to warm up.
It was Olivant who managed to gather that restart from Wales, and at the moment France are playing inside of their own 22. They haven't found a position yet that they're happy to clear the ball, but Dupont might be happier with this one. He hasn't really got a guard on that near side. He started to just fire that one away. It's going to come down the throat of Rhys Zammit, who's reading this every time. He knows exactly where that ball's going to come from, Dupont. And that is a huge box kick, isn't it?
Honestly, it is just, it is immense. He is talent. Obviously, he works his socks off to be the athlete that he is, but his rugby instincts and his ability to perform all aspects of the game, just extraordinary.
I always think sometimes when players like Dupont are in action, we need like a huge hit going on in the middle of the field. Dante gets back on the field. Oh, it's a real mistake here by Wales. Goes back from Bigger to Gather. He's going to be pushed. Rhys Zammit then with the pressure kick to push it away, and he's had to kick that straight out. I mean, he was in his 22, but Wales had to take it back in the 22. So all of a sudden, France have a line-out inside of the French 22. I mean, just a complete miscommunication by Wales.
Yeah, they've gone first phase. Massive tackle from Dante in the middle of the field, and then a breakdown in communication between Rhys Webb and Dan Bigger. Bigger was in the pocket, and then almost looked like he would change his mind and going to run as Webb whipped the ball away to where he thought Bigger was. It's a great pass. It was just a no one.
Okay. You heard there from our referee, we're playing advantage now to France after Wales have knocked that one on. And so they're going to come back. So as much as we're focusing on the action here in Paris, where it is France 10, Wales 7, at 5 o'clock, head over to 5 Live where you hear full commentary of Ireland against England. Your commentary team for that one will be our correspondent Chris Jones, Matt Dawson and Jamie Heaslip.
To the left of that, guys.
Don't worry, they're just scrumming down. And of course, there will be another Rugby Union Daily podcast available fresh for you tomorrow morning on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. All of the action of everything that will or will not happen will be there ready and waiting for you. Right now, over on 5 Live, you can follow the Premier League match between Southampton and Tottenham. But we're focusing on all things rugby here on Sports Extra for now as the ball goes in, but the scrum has gone straight down to ground, and it's a penalty to France once again. And this will be a concern now from Wales, because the referee, we know after a while, they start to paint a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys,
and it's a clear picture, isn't it? It's an obvious point of difference for France. Not one they're going to turn down using either. Referee went early there, no hesitation that Antonio's on top. And Jones just pulling his elbow down when the pressure comes on. France go to the boot.
Yeah, straight away, Thomas Ramos is happy to take this one and just build a little bit more of a score to make this match look a little bit more comfortable from France, as we can see the huge man that is Antonio walking away from that quite happily. And you can see that the referee is still chatting away there, and it was actually Antonio there who was speaking to the ref, almost like pressing home the point. So Ramos, far side of the field. This penalty is 15 metres out from the far side. And he's taken it just outside of the 22. Right boot from Ramos, sails high, the flags fly. It is now France 13, Wales 7. They're just starting to pull away.
It's just the pressure on Wales to be almost perfect. That was a mistake of their own making, exiting their own half. Prior to that, they tried to play out from their edge of the 22, got turned over for a penalty, so 6 points from 2 Welsh mistakes.
Right then, back underway, restart. What have Wales got here? But are France going to start really digging the knife in? Here is a pass to Antonio. He goes down to the floor inside of the 22. Back then to Ontemak, the young man whose partnership with Antoine Dupont has really flourished under their coach Fabien Galtier. A lot of people remembering when the pair of them were just given their opportunity to go and play, as the ball is knocked on by Wales on the floor, and it's going to be Ontemak who clears towards the far side of the field. You can see that the Welsh backfield players aren't quite in sync there, and that was a nice push back there by Ontemak. He then goes to regather the ball inside of the French half. Now it's Ramos, who looks like he's going to run this one towards the halfway line. I mean, that is quite courageous attacking ball there by the French. Such is their confidence, though, right now. Taken forward by Bai. Back comes the ball. Still France in play. Hanging out the back. Here's Penno. You've got to tackle him. That's all I'm going to say. He's so good at evading tackles. Antonio is now juggling with the ball. It's almost like watching a game of sevens temporarily, as the ball then is kicked down towards this near side. Dan Bigger's just waiting to see where this ball goes, and that's a good bit of mature nous there from Bigger to just wait for France to run towards him before he touches down, and then we'll restart with a goal line dropout for Wales.
All got a bit messy, didn't it, temporarily for France there around the halfway line. Certainly gets you to the edge of your seat, Damien Penaud, when he gets the ball. Flashing footwork. He's also size of a horse as well, so lateral movement, speed and size, tasty mix.
How exciting is it when I just compare for you the halfback options? You've got Wales there, 34-year-old Rhys Webb and 33-year-old Dan Bigger, and then Dupont is 26 and Ontemak is 23. I mean, as a partnership and a relationship, that's crazy exciting.
Yeah, it is, and already well established. They're the balance of influence on the game sits mostly with Dupont. Ontemak's timing and his job spec comes off the back of the brilliance of his 9, but he does it beautifully.
And there's numbers here for France on that far side. They've worked this really well. It's Ontemak who's on the ball, still going forward. Ramos now has it. They've gone back towards Dupont. Dupont round the far side. They need to tackle him, Wales. They're going to drag him into touch on the far side. It's stopped just before he gets to the whitewash. It's still French ball. Big men now throwing themselves forward. Is this going to be another try for them? They're going to be pushed back once again. All of the red shirts going to make sure there is no try for France, but they can smell blood, the French. They've got options there. Bai is waiting to rush onto that ball. They're going to go for the long pass out towards this near side. Oh, they've got numbers. Danty is waiting. He's got the power. He finishes. Of course he does. Second try by the French. It was so well worked to have numbers out on the left. They sucked in all the Welsh players down in the corner, and then Danty just hung out, waited, said, all right, I'll finish this off. It is now France 18, Wales 7.
Right on cue, the halfbacks in tandem. A little dart from the base by Dupont. 2 sets of hands. Ontemak's on the ball. Show and go. Goes into the tackle, knowing that the offload's back on the inside to his 9, who's in support. He made the half break, gave it back to Dupont. Intricate little play, almost scored in the far left corner. Then they've got the whole width of the pitch. The whole width of the pitch to go. Could have been the crossfield kick. They went for the passing route, 3 long passes. Danty trotted in the corner. Brilliant.
It really is a joy to watch, and it's like no one's having to think. Everyone just knows what to do, which is just, you know, it takes years, absolute years, and when it is coming off,
15.
it's just glorious. Both Ireland and France are joys to watch.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
The very best of anything looks really
guys,
simple,
try
doesn't it?
fans.
So why
And
doesn't
it's
everyone
not.
do that? Well,
It's
because
not.
most people can't.
Yeah. Well, the good news is it looks like Alan Wynne-Jones has passed his HIA, and he might be looking to come back onto the field for Wales. So they won't have to use up one of their replacements just yet as we wait for Thomas Ramos to convert this one. It is a metre out from this near side touch, and he's taken it back outside of the 15. He hasn't missed with his 3 kicks so far today. This is his 4th attempt to take France over 20. Oh, that one's come off the post, but it's come off in the right direction. Maybe it is going to be a French day as they now lead against Wales 20 points to 7 as Alan Wynne-Jones is staying in the technical area for the time being. I was just keeping a quite close eye there on David Jenkins, who has gone to rejoin the play. So we'll just keep a close eye if he is going to rejoin or not. So restart then from Wales comes down inside of the French 22. And they've got it 15 metres away. They're just trying to hold up that ball and slow it down there, Wales. They've managed to do that, but it's still blue ball as Ontomac now gets it. Right boot from him down the far side of the field. That is well into touch as we hear La Marseillaise sing out around the Stade de France. And it's going to be a Welsh attack. They could do with something here on 35 minutes.
Yes, please. 4.
Yeah, they've made, what, 2 mistakes that cost them 6 points. There's not a fat lot they could do about that. It was just sublime attack. But they're better when they're in possession. If the balance changes and France are on the ball all the time, it could be a long day for Wales.
Little bit sloppy at the line out for Wales. They lost the ball on the floor, but they've managed to pounce onto it and hold on to it. Wales attacking between the 10 and the 22, 15 metres out. Rhys Webb is just lining up the ball at the back there of a long caterpillar. He passes out wide. It's a tough pass for Bigger, who's going to go for a crossfield kick towards this near side touch. Rio Dyer is there. He can't take it. In the end, it's going to be a mark that's given really quickly there by Penaud, but was there a hand in there and a forced knock-on by George North? Referee's just saying it's a knock-on at the moment, and that is why the French crowd here don't like it.
I've got to say, if Antonio's grab earlier in the game was down as a genuine attempt to catch it, I think George North is fine there. They switched to play Wales. They'd set up for a box kick, painted the pitch. They were going to kick down the right-hand side. And then it went back to Dan Bigger, who kicked long left. Penaud caught it. Back to the Welsh chasers, called the mark, took a quick tap, and they were gone.
So they're just playing it up on the big screen. I said the French wouldn't like it, but
How can you
if so,
tell?
he's not going to look up.
How can you tell they don't like it?
Just the slight atmosphere, the slight noise, the feeling.
I think the referee's right.
19.
And of course,
Initial look. Alan Wynne-Jones has had his rest. They've kind of run down the clock on the HIA, and now he can go back on. I guess you use all those minutes when you're wrong side of 30, shall
I was
we
going to
say.
say, I thought you were going to say like 57 years old. No, he's 37, and of course there's a few 37-year-olds who are doing good things on a rugby field right now. One is Alan Wynne-Jones, and of course the other is Johnny Sexton, who will be leading out Ireland at 5 o'clock at the Aviva Stadium. His very first kick or points on the board, whether it be a kick or a try for Johnny Sexton, he will overtake Ronan O'Gara as the highest point scorer in the Six Nations. I mean, if there was anything else that Ireland needed to chase today, I mean, it really does feel there's a huge amount riding on that fixture. That's a better scrum here from Wales as it's held. Eventually, it's a huge pile of men that end up on the floor, but play continues, and Dupont knows there's too many men lying around. He passes out, it can't connect with Penaud on this near side. I mean, they just knew there were so many players who were still lying around after the scrum, and there was space that they flew off. They just couldn't get that final connection.
Good scrum from Wales there. They dug in. Alan Wynne-Jones coming back on after resting his legs. Monster scrummager. Gave them the added power they need. I actually thought Marchand popped out of the top first, but they played away. And then from the mess, only Dan Bigger diving one-handed, grabbed the back of Dupont's shirt, otherwise he was gone.
2 tries for France as they lead 20 points here to 7 against Wales. 1 try for Wales early on through George North, but they haven't done a huge amount since and really made any strong attack on that line, and they've just made a mistake with the ball. Fiku has said, thank you very much, I will have that inside of the Welsh half by about 6 or 7 metres, now pushing towards the 10-metre line. Blue ball comes up, and it's loose backwards as they end up going south rather than north, the French, but they come back for the advantage. We'll restart with a scrum.
Right, they're not gone.
Same stuff from Wales, unfortunately, an early mistake. They're being brave, they're being ambitious, they're not route one, they're looking to find some soft edges, but they're just coming up with some skill errors in the first couple of phases, which is handing possession to France. They've got a free hit there, knocked it on themselves, didn't kick it away, so the referee would call advantage over after the knock on, but they get a midfield scrum 45 metres out.
Well, this scoreline won't come as too much of a surprise to anyone as we close in on half-time here at the Stade de France. 40 seconds left on the clock, and worth saying that France haven't trailed at half-time in the Six Nations since 2018 when they've been at home. I mean, that's just incredible. And the 8, 9 and 10 have started the last 10 Six Nations games together. Such is the consistency of this French lineup. We can already tell that this is going to be a pick-up at number 8 here for France, because Dupont has just spun away to try and confuse the Welsh defenders, and it's Danty who's come away with the ball. He can't get the pass away. Looked like that had gone forward. No, referee says it's gone off red, so it's backwards, and it's Welsh ball. They're back pinned on their own 22-metre line. Huge pass comes out from Webb, who manages to find Tipperick, and now he's managed to find North, wearing 13, won a lot of his caps for Wales, of course, out on the wing. Now seen more often, obviously wearing 13. Bigger now as they're trying to play their way out of their 22. Sorry, they're at half at the moment, Wales. They're outside of the 22. It is working for them as they've managed to find some space out on that far side. But France are going to dump them into touch for their efforts, and they will get the line out. But it doesn't matter, because that is half-time here. Half-time score, France 20, Wales 7. I have to say, Wales coming off the pitch, and there is quite a few hands on hips and a little bit of frustration there, Paul Grayson.
There will be, because they know they've contributed to that scoreline with a couple of sloppy mistakes in their own half. They've come to play Wales. They started very brightly, got 7-0 up. We know the quality that France possessed and the ability to rack up points in double quick time. Wales taking some risks. They've made a couple of errors. I mean, realistically, are they going to haul France back in and overtake them? Probably not, but they'll feel reasonably good. Probably a little bit frustrated about the first half. France in small pockets. What a joy.
Yeah, they really are. That's nothing to take away from what is an improved Welsh performance from what we have seen perhaps throughout the rest of the Six Nations. So are they going to be improving for that World Cup? That's what we'll dissect perhaps in the second half. Half-time here at the Stade de France. France 20, Wales 7. But of course, later we'll be heading to Dublin, because coming up at 5 p.m. on 5 Live, it's Ireland against England. And Matt Dawson and Chris Jones have been there for us.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Welcome to Dublin. We are just in the shadow of the Aviva Stadium, a couple of hours away from Ireland's Day of Destiny, 5 o'clock kickoff, Ireland against England in the Six Nations finale. Matt Dawson is here. Now, Matt, it's a bit quiet here because we've just snuck inside from the bedlam that is happening outside. What an atmosphere around this whole city over the last 48 hours.
It's been a joy to be in Dublin, to feel the build-up, soak it all up, knowing what was coming over the weekend, St Patrick's Day, yesterday, everybody joining in, whether you were Irish, English or from anywhere else. And certainly everyone's woken up this morning with a spring in their step, expecting something very special to happen at 5 o'clock this afternoon onwards. So this is only just the beginning. You and I both know, Chris, in the next couple of hours, we're currently sat by by a fireplace on our sofas with people milling around. They're going to be moving the sofas out soon because it's standing room only. It's going to be ram-packed.
It generally feels like we found the one quiet spot in the city. I've never seen the city like this. We came over Thursday morning, putting in the graft, getting here nice and early, going to the press conferences. Town Thursday night, we were around this area in Ballsbridge, standing about right by the stadium last night. It's something else, isn't it, this weekend, especially with what's on the line for this Ireland rugby team?
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge amount on the line. And I think the fans are enjoying being the favourites, being the best team in the world. The players certainly enjoy that feeling. But this is next level. This is reputational stuff. They're in territory where Ireland have never been before, have never won a Grand Slam at home. What an expectation, what a joy to have. But in the same breath, I think it's uncharted waters for Ireland, which so far Ireland have embraced and have enjoyed. But again, by the definition of it, uncharted waters. You don't know how big the swell's going to be.
Yeah, we're still a little bit away from kick-off, but there is rain around, which always acts as something of a level, although it was raining at Twickenham last weekend and France put 50 on England. But the pressure, you've been in the situation in 03, coming here as a side heavily back to win a slam, having missed out a couple of years previously, and you went and did a number. But would the pressure you felt be similar to what Ireland are feeling? Would that pressure you felt in 03 be put on yourselves, whereas you've got a whole country here in Ireland kind of putting pressure on the team?
Yeah, we applied a lot of pressure to ourselves. It wasn't obviously at Twickenham. Rugby is slightly different in Ireland. Dublin's a smaller city than London. There is, everywhere you look, people are wearing green, they're wearing the rugby shirts, they're hovering around the stadium, wherever you turn. Whereas in London, rugby would have been very focused around that day. We created our own pressure 20 years ago, even to the point where Clive sort of questioned us and said to us, if you don't win this game, you ain't winning the World Cup. He threw that on the line to the players to see how we would respond. I'm not sure Andy Farrell will be doing the same, but I think there is a natural pressure building onto this Ireland team that will test them, and whether they come through it, we'll find out. But they seem to embrace it. Yeah.
Have you, in your memory of coming to Dublin, experienced a situation like this with England such heavy underdogs?
No, and I don't think that's just in Dublin. I think that's generally. Have England ever been such underwhelming, such an underwhelming team? However, that I'd like to think that sort of stirs the spirit and stirs the motivation in any individual. If you're an England fan, you would have watched last week, you'd be hurting. Imagine how those players feel. And so I'm expecting something big from England today. Whether it's big enough to win, we'll find out. But certainly, I'm expecting a huge reaction to what was an embarrassing 80 minutes last weekend.
Are some England careers on the line here?
Yes, I think there are careers on the line.
International careers.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to Martin Johnson on Friday, and he was talking about the different levels of intensity as you go through your career, and playing for your club in the Premiership, getting to the top end, challenging for trophies, going into Europe, challenging for Europe titles, getting your international cap. But international's not enough. International, just because you play for your country doesn't mean you've achieved your goal. There are levels of intensity within international rugby that are at that sort of semi-final, final level, and that's where we need to see whether the England players are prepared to put themselves in that mentality and that headspace that is going to enable them to win these big games. And this is one of those occasions where it's not going to get any tougher than today, I can assure you.
And the start, everyone talks about starts in any rugby match up and down the levels, but England cannot be 10-0 down before they blinked like they were against France. Because can you imagine this place, this crowd, the Aviva, the Irish players will grow an extra foot, won't they? Yeah. If they find themselves gifted a bit of a lead, whether France were gifted or whether they were brilliant themselves. But England have to be in this game on half-time, don't they?
It comes down, all of these games come down to the finest of margins. It might not be reflective in the final score, but it will come down to the finest margin, even to the point of the coin toss. That's coin toss? The coin toss.
It's been a long few days.
Yeah. Where if you're going to win that coin toss, then you're going to kick off. You want to be ball in the air, charging after the ball, make something happen early on, first few seconds, set the tone. I'm as interested in the rest of the game as I am for who wins that coin toss and who kicks off, because that's the sort of importance of the beginning of the game. And even if England, you're not going to be able to get me back into my seat if England win the ball, get the ball early, hit 3 points, hit a drop goal, walk away, start again. I am going to be pumped up, ready to go, because it's that type of game where every single edge is so important.
Yeah, what a huge day for English rugby, an even bigger day for Irish rugby. And a word about, finally, the occasion, Matt. It's Johnny Sexton's last competitive Six Nations game. He could be the record point scorer in the Six Nations. It's St Paddy's Day weekend. We've experienced it firsthand the last 48 hours. As a player, and you've been here with Grand Slam deciders and a World Cup final, how do you not let your mind wander to 2 hours' time and the celebrations? Because there has to be the temptation to go, God, I want to fast forward. I want to get this out of the way. I want to fast forward. I want to experience what we could have. But you can't have that celebration without the 2 hour process. That's the really hard bit.
Yeah, and Johnny Sexton's played enough games to realise that does him no good whatsoever. Him thinking of the outcome is just useless to him. He will be focused on the first kickoff, the first tackle, the first move, the first pass. I know he will. I mean, it is, and from absolutely those experiences that I've had, the successful ones come from when you concentrate on the process. And it's not very exciting for you, for me, for the fans to hear that. They want to hear that story of him going to bed.
But people talk
tonight.
about it because we want to hear him go, oh, I'm going to drink 10 pints if I win.
Correct.
But
I've got my hands on my trophy and it's my last game. But that's just not how it's going to be. It's not like it's the end of his career. We're holding on to, a little storyline there that it's his last Six Nations game. But for him, he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about, this is a game that I could win a Grand Slam in Dublin. What can I do to make sure that I'm in prime condition to start and finish the game?
Awesome. Brilliant stuff. Matt Dawson, Jamie Heaslip in commentary with us. A 5 o'clock kickoff on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We're going to go back into the bedlam now, Sarah. Over to you in Paris.
Thanks so much to Chris and to Matt Dawson there. Don't forget full coverage of Ireland against England Grand Slam decider in Dublin. Will be live on 5 Live at 5 o'clock. Loved listening to what Matt Dawson was saying there about processes, because I can tell you for free, there is nothing I hate more than speaking to a player about processes. It is the most dull thing in the world, but as Matt rightly says, that's how you're going to win, by sticking to them. If they're the right ones.
And that's the whole point of it, that you're, how do you get ingrained in people that all the emotion of the occasion and the pride that you feel and the excitement, the exhilaration, the potential massive high or crushing low, how do you get what do you focus that into? Well, the best teams in the world channel all that into technical excellence. So you're performing at a mental and physical peak, but also a technical peak. And if you get a pat on the back because the latch that you put onto a player is perfectly on his backside, it drives him forward an extra yard, which means that the ball's fractionally quicker, so the scrum half can get closer to the ball and whip it away quicker, and your winger scores in the corner. If all your team turn around and pat you on the back for doing the first bit right, which is the bit that nobody sees, you're on the way to an avalanche of high performance.
And forgive me if you have read this book, Paul Grayson, or if anyone, I'm going to tell them a story they already know. I've recently read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and one of the things he says in it when he meets elite coaches and always says, what is the difference between someone who is just an amazing out-and-out athlete at the top of their game compared to someone who's good but not ever going to reach there? And he said actually the biggest difference is they don't get bored. And he means by the fact of endless practice, doing exactly the same thing again and again and again. So it is just totally their second nature. They've never got bored of practicing it. They're happy to do their 10,000 hours or whatever it is, so that when it comes to those big pressure moments, they don't even have to think about it. It's just done in that instant.
Yeah, and you're right there, unconscious competence. You're in the zone. It just happens. Why does it just happen? Because the fundamental neural pathways have been built over years and years and years, over hours and hours and hours. Same thing done better. Practice perfect, and you get somewhere near it in an imperfect game. So all roads point in the same direction. Why doesn't everybody do it? Because it's bloody difficult to do, excuse my language.
That's all right, we'll let you get away with that one. I've heard far worse language on the radio today, but we won't repeat any of that right now. Welcome to the Stade de France, where it's half-time between France and Wales. France are up 20 points to 7, 2 tries for them, one by Danty, another by Penaud. But it was Wales who opened the scoring through George North. Something that is not perhaps on point so far has been our eating habits at half-time, and we have just absolutely consumed a large amount of chocolate biscuits, sweeties, and now our producer Victoria has also produced some orange mini eggs. I won't say the brand, but yes, we could work on that, couldn't we, Paul Grace?
Well, I didn't have any of those at half-time. You've thrown yourself under the bus there.
I didn't have any, but they're winking at me, is all I'm going to say, as we wait for the teams to appear back out onto the field. It's going to be France who come out first, as Wales do actually eventually run out alongside them. We'll keep an eye on any replacements that could come. All of the talk after this day is over is all going to be about the World Cup. So the next time you're going to see these teams in actions, first of all France, they've got World Cup warm-ups home and away against Scotland, and then they've got Fiji and Australia here at home. As for Wales, they're going to play England home and away, and then they've got South Africa at home. All those matches, of course, they'll be played in August as they build up to the start of that World Cup in September. I mean, do I need to remind you the incredible group that France have got in their World Cup Pool A? They'll be opening here at the Stade de France against New Zealand. There's also Italy, Uruguay and Namibia in Pool A. As for Wales, perhaps they haven't quite got a pool of death, but it's quite a repetitive pool, you have to say, Paul C. Yes, Wales drawn against Australia once again. It's also Fiji, Georgia and Portugal in that group as well. And when they talk about the weight of the draw, the side that France are on in Pool B, you've got South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Tonga and Romania. I mean, yeah, there'll be plenty of chat about how early World Rugby do that draw. It's all about selling tickets. That's all you need to know.
It's a load of nonsense though, isn't it?
Well, there you go. That's for another day. It's still the last day of the Six Nations here, and we're back underway at the Stade de France. It is France 20, Wales 7. It's France who are kicking us off, playing from right to left in this second half, wearing, of course, their blue tops and their blue shorts, royal blue at that. And it's Wales who've received the ball inside of their 22. They're playing from left to right, red shirts, white shorts and green socks. As we wait for the ball to make its way to the back, Webb is there. Long box kick from him. It's going to land pretty much on the halfway line, taken cleanly by Ramos. And he's stood there waiting for a Wales player to come towards him. And in the end, he realises they're not. So he goes, OK, I'll have another couple of metres. Thank you very much. And runs straight into them. Huge hits come in by the second rows as they go hungry, looking for work. A little bit of a show and go there by Ontamac on the Welsh 22-metre line. Dupont is happy to go. Taufifenua getting involved as well. This is really nice by France down this near side touch. Getting involved there, we can see Dumortier also teaming up with Olivon. Dupont looks up. This time he manages to find his captain in all three, who goes down to the floor. A bit of support comes in by Dumortier just to try and clear a little bit of space there for the French to go for their next attacking move. They've lost a metre in that last phase of play as Danty goes right through the middle. And here's a breakaway by Marchand around the corner. Really nice by the hooker. Smart work. They need it quickly. France, that's penalty advantage as well. That was an easy one for the referee to spot, so it's a free hit here for France. Penalty advantage coming their way. 10 metres left to travel. Can they get an early try here in the second half to take them up to 3? That was really nice there by the French, but I have to say, I think it might have been out there Nick Tompkins, who could see that move coming a long way off and managed to wrap it up. And big decision here by France. Are they going to keep pounding away, or are they just going to calmly go for the points at goal? Oh, scrum, that's exciting.
There you go. In for the kill. They've started quick, haven't they, France? When Ramos was stood on the halfway line, you thought, what is he doing? Well, he was just basically preparing to set the first ruck, and then France were off quickly away from the base, time after time by Dupont. Then Dumortier, a little show and go, but he knew that Olivon was his desired target once he got his arms free through the tackle, and just lost their shape once they'd got the advantage. Marchand is powerful off the mark, isn't he? That pick and go when they see space. And then, as we were just discussing before, the response to that action is perfect clear out. Everybody understands their role, playing on instinct.
It's a big decision here by France. They've gone for the scrum, and to be fair, they certainly had the upper hand in this area in the first half. They're looking to pick that up here in the second. It's gathered by Dupont, who trips over his own player, so he's lost a little bit of time on the ball there. Still takes about 3 Welsh players to bring Dupont down, who's now 2 metres from the line. Cyril Bay, a real push towards the line, stopped about 2 inches short. They're going to have to recycle and go again, but look at the line of big men waiting to go. Antonio versus Reece Zammit. There's only one winner, and that's Antonio. Is try number 3 for the big number 3. France extend their lead 25 points to 7.
Well, the first part of that didn't work properly. As Algit and Dupont got their feet tangled, Dupont still managed to find a little bit of space and then drive his legs. So powerful to get on the front foot. One carry, looked as though they were going to try and muscle their way over, and then they swept the ball behind. One pass to, it's not a typical shape for an outside centre, Antonio, but he was in the 13 channel. Reece Zammit did his best, but only one winner from 4 yards out.
I mean, it is nice when you get those mismatches like that. It's normally the other way round, that you get a really sprightly young thing eyeing up a prop and thinking, oh, I can run round you, but it can work just as well in the opposite direction as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of tonnage on the hoof there.
Okay, so Ramos, he's got another kick. I mean, all of these tries for France have been out on the fringes. None of them have been under the posts. He's got all of them so far. He's 4 from 4 from the boot with a penalty as well. But on this occasion, he's got to try and turn this one around just ever so slightly from this near side. This would make him 5 from 5, and this would really make this an incredibly respectable scoreline for the French. Right boot into the air, and yes, that one is also good. France 28, Wales 7, and never has it been more important for Wales to turn up.
Just watching the French team there, once they've scored that try, they haven't just all run off back into their positions, grabbed a drink. They've come together, they've just actually circled up. Captain Algit laying down the law to his team. They want to put the hammer down here on Wales. They've got exactly what they wanted immediately after half-time. That third try, 45 minutes gone, totally in control of the game as Wales make some changes, but it just shows that what they've done is not enough for them. They've had a secondary team talk 5 minutes into the second half to say, let's be relentless, let's make sure that we play now till the end, put Ireland under some pressure.
Wyn Jones, Ken Owens and Alan Wyn Jones go off. On comes Bradley Roberts, Gareth Thomas and Daffyd Jenkins. So it's 3 changes in the forwards as Aldrit breaks out of the first tackle from the restart to take France forward. Another big run this time by Marchand. He makes another couple of metres. This French attack is moving certainly in the right direction, still inside of their own half, but they're looking very confident on their own ball. Big changes there for Wales very early on, only 5 minutes, and Ron Gatland has decided to deploy those changes, get some fresh legs on. He said he just needed his side to stay in the arm wrestle in the build up to this fixture. They've been staying in Nice. They didn't go home after their win in Rome last week. They've been spending their time down in the south of France. And I spoke to a few of the journalists here. As the ball goes out of play on the far side, it'll restart with a French line out inside of their own half. I was speaking to some of the journalists who've been out in France that whole time with the Welsh camp. And I said, what's Gatland been like this last week in particular? And they said, he just looks a bit of a broken man, which is so disappointing to hear. You just can't believe that the man who everyone in Wales thought was going to be a magician and turn this around, perhaps at what is unexpected and, you know, quite impossible speed, can't believe it himself.
No, and perhaps, I don't know what the due diligence was like from his point of view. Maybe it was a slightly emotional move to come back, but there are deep problems in Welsh rugby that are reflected in the national team.
Well, Beard has just knocked on the ball there from the line out after Wales thought they'd stolen it. Here's a breakaway through Ramos. Big tackle coming in by Tompkins. That was excellent work. It's going to be a penalty, though. Not releasing the tackle player.
Tackle must release.
That was quite a quick penalty. I thought Nick Tompkins was quite quick there, but our referee, Nick Berry, doesn't like it, and it is a penalty to France.
The ball came loose and went back onto the Welsh side, so I think whether he'd got away quick enough, he got away in the wrong direction and interfered with the ball, so why the referee gave the penalty.
Well, it's going to be Ontemak who's going to clear this one down this near side touch, and he's done what only a man on a team who is 27 points to 7 up. I get there eventually with the score. Can do, and look very calm and casual in his efforts with it as well. Right then, France line out, and the man who scored the last try, Queenie Antonio, he's going to make his way off the field. A good afternoon for him in the end after his return from suspension. On in his place is Filipe Falatara. He's on now into that front to see if he can make an impact. Only his 12th cap. See if he can just pick up where Antonio has left off. So taken cleanly in the air there by Olivon, the Toulon back rower, as they push on now, the French just outside of the Welsh 22. They were practicing in the warm-up to this match, the crowd shouting pushes. We get a breakaway here by Fico. This is going to be a fourth try for France, surely. Is he over? Yes, he is. He flies over Fico. It was a wonderful bit of work in the backfield. A little bit of smoke and mirrors. Wales bought the lot, and that is a bonus point try now for the French, who lead 32 points to 7 against the Welsh.
Well, the speed of hands there and the competency in that. It's absolutely milliseconds to get the ball away to Entermac, as Dan Bigger gambled. He kind of knew what was coming, wanted to try and shut it down. He shot out of the line, whipped round the back from Dante to Entermac. Entermac straightened beautifully. Fiku followed him through the hole and then arced to the outside. Had too much pace for Josh Adams. Rolled over and dotted the ball down. Glorious stuff.
Well, that's a bonus point, and that is all France could come and do here today. But once again, they're in a huddle in the middle. I mean, points difference could be massive here today, and that is what France are talking about. Do not take your foot off that accelerator. The more, the better. If Ireland are going to slip up, they need to be in a position to take this trophy. As the conversion goes over, Ramos is playing his part in the deal. He's not missed so far this afternoon. It's now France 34, Wales 7. Just a quick reminder of what's going on in the Premier League today. It's half-time in most of those matches. At half-time, it's Aston Villa 1, AFC Bournemouth 0, Brentford 1, Leicester City 0, Southampton 0, Tottenham 1, and then Wolverhampton 0, Leeds 1. Of course, Chelsea against Everton, that 5:30 kickoff is actually going to be live here on Sports Extra. Coverage will get underway at 5:25, and then once the rugby is finished in Dublin between Ireland and England, the second half will be back on 5 Live. Restart from France is sent back down the field, and it's Louis Rees-Zammit who goes back to gather the ball. He has had a few starts at fullback, Rees-Zammit. At his club at Gloucester, you tend to see him mainly on the wing. But with that injury to Liam Williams, I mean, Halfpenny is also on the bench for Wales as well. Do you think he's got a career as a fullback, or do you see him more as a wing going forward?
It's a tricky one sometimes. He'll clearly get the ball kicked to him a lot as a fullback. It's not always the best ball to carry, to be perfectly honest. You're generally against an organised defence. He's got absolute jet shoes, hasn't he? Genuine pace.
Oh, it's over the top there by France. It's taken cleanly in the end. Pushed forward there. Of course, it was Vardy who managed to take that one on. Pushed down to the floor, managed to gather once again. There is Vardy on the ball. It was Falatera with that first take. They've made more changes, France. Pushing forward. Oh, this is so physical now from the French. Wales thought they were turning up for an arm wrestle. They're not being disappointed as the ball is lost forward on the floor. It's going to be Welsh ball, but they're stuck inside of their own 22 all of a sudden. They really need to play some heads-up rugby here with confidence now, Wales. This scoreline is really roughing them at 34 points to 7. They know what happened last week against England at Twickenham, and they don't want to be on the receiving end. They've got to take control.
Okay, no worries.
Let's listen to the ref.
Yeah, I thought if you were going to clear, Advantage over. Guys will play the knock-on.
Okay, they're going to come back for the knock-on by France. And you just look at the body language from Wales. They just don't seem to have that cohesion.
Guys, the marks up here.
Dan Biggar is barking away his orders, but you're just not sure who's listening.
No, it's tough when you're on the back foot. It's only they're throwing themselves into the tackles, Wales. Tafafanua with the knock on there, but when the referee said you got advantage, Dan Biggar said, I don't want it. Let's get back into the set piece, calm things down, try and engineer a way out of their 22 under their control. Doesn't want an unscripted clearance and a hungry France in counter-attack. But the gulf in quality between the two teams is as wide as it was last week at Twickenham.
And we've just had flashed up on the big screens here around the Stade de France the table as it stands in the Six Nations. So with Ireland and England still with that game to play, France currently top the table. If the score stays like it is, which we do expect it to stay like it is, we have to be honest, on 52 minutes, it would mean that France have won with a bonus point there. Currently top of the table, but Ireland can change all of that come 5 o'clock. Here comes Faletau. The occasion of his 100th cap, perhaps not going the way he would like, as Rhys Webb snipes round the corner. The French player lands on the wrong side. Referee is happy for the ball to be played. Comes back once again. Tompkins in the first receiver position. It's Biggar who pushes out towards the far side with the long pass off his right hand. Rio Dyer gathers and works forward. It's a lot of effort here for Wales to try and get out of their own 22. It's tiring to watch and is not going to get them ultimately what they want long term. They're still playing out of their own half here. A little kick through by Tompkins for George North to chase. Can he get the bounce of the ball? Yes, he can. Can he get the last pass away? No, it's round the ankles of Rhys Samet. France have it back once again. Ramos is going to send it straight then to Dupont, who's playing forward. He's going to come back though. It's a forward pass. So Wales get away with one. And the crowd don't like it, but Wales have just been given a gift inside of the French half.
Let me tell you, whoever's called that forward has made a mistake. He was facing back towards his own line, Ramos.
We can just check this restart. If not,
passed the ball 20-25 metres infield to Antoine Dupont, and it was exactly down the middle of the cut strip. Exactly down the middle of it, which is a shame because Dupont made a break and France were away. It was just the optics didn't suit whoever called it because Ramos was facing his own line.
Well, the touch judge on this near side is Christoph Ridley of England. I can only assume it's him that called it in. But as I said, it is a gift, and it appears to be a gift with a bow on top of it for Wales. So change here as well. We can see that Rhys Webb is coming off the field of play. Coming on is Cardiff's Thomas Williams. I was about to call him Thomas Ramos there. We're not going to talk about trading players from nation to nation just yet. So scrum goes down. Williams gets the ball in. They're going to flood down this near side channel. Little hack through there by Williams. Chase back goes by Ontimac. Also their big chase. We haven't seen a lot of him, I have to say, is Josh Adams, as France are trying to run this out of their own try area. Memories of their game against Australia there for anyone who can remember that when they went end to end. It is Wales who managed to get the ball back inside of the French 22. Comes now to Wainwright. He puts his body on the line to push forwards. They need quicker ball, and Williams knows that. That's what he's on the field to do now. Last pass gets away in the end to Rhys Samet. Josh Adams is going to run out of space. He knows he's got to cut back inside. Meter left to go to the French try line. This is good from the Welsh. Big running lines. They're coming in from Roberts. That's over. That is a Welsh try. It came from virtually nothing, and they've just managed to reach out and touch down. And I'm just confirming, it's Bradley Roberts of the Dragons, only his 5th cap. He's just got his first try in a Welsh shirt. Good time to get it.
Yeah, and from that, from the little gift that they were given, Wales have taken full advantage. They played right from the scrum, dinked the ball in behind to put France under pressure. Entomac couldn't perform the miracle to get out, hurled it inside to Ramos, who was almost on the dead ball line. Ramos just went for it, got isolated, good turnover from Tipperick. And then skill from Wales to be able to get the ball into the wide channel. And then the pop ball to the left. A fantastic drive, low body height. And from what I would consider to be a mistake by the officials. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Could be 7 points here.
Well, Dan Bigger now learning up the conversion to add an extra 2. He's only had one other kick at goal. It was a conversion from the try that came very early on in the match after just 7 minutes from the George North try. As he lines this one up, that's his bread and butter, nice and easy. So it is now France 34, Wales 14. I mean, I doubt this is the start of a massive comeback, but it is the start of something, and 2 more tries, Wales get a bonus point.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was an unnecessary risk from Ramos. With the nature of the game and where they are on the scoreboard, why wouldn't you have a crack? But taken full advantage of by Wales.
I was just looking back down at my notes and reminding myself that this is the first time Warren Gatland and Shaun Edwards have actually faced each other in a Six Nations game. We have to remember that, of course, Warren Gatland went away, and that's when Shaun Edwards left and went off to France. This is the first time they've essentially gone head-to-head on opposite coaching staffs. It was 4 years ago when Wales actually beat Ireland for the Grand Slam. It's also the last time that these two countries met, where Wales came away with the win, was that World Cup quarter-final in Japan. Plenty of history has changed in a different direction and a different colour in a time that has passed. As Wales now from the restart have the ball inside of their own 22. Box kick from Williams. It's lovely and high, not a huge amount of distance on it, but it's been really well chased out on that far side wing. Rio Dyer underneath it, doing his job well. As the ball comes towards Tompkins, big pass out to Zamet. He runs around the first one. That's a really nice run by Zamet. He's made a good 10 metres there. He's good for his carrying money. Tends to average around 15 metres per run. I know he hasn't played a huge amount in the Six Nations because he started out injured, but he's actually got the best average running metres of any player throughout the tournament. You think that might be someone like Penno. Penno just likes evading defenders. It doesn't matter where they are, he can go backwards and forwards, he'll run around anyone. As Wales still with the ball, and it's all about this exit from Wales. I mean, they're still playing inside of their own half. They're now into their 5th phase, and it comes back to Bigger in the end, who's going to put the high one up in the air. And I have to say, it's actually raining at the Stade de France. It's just starting to come down. We can still see the sunshine behind us, but the rain is coming through the bowl, so it's going to get a little bit slippery out there for both sides as they're tracking back now. It was a good kick. Oh, it's a slippery ball over the top of it. This is a mess. This could be... It could have been a Welsh try there, but no, it's been knocked on as they've run down by France.
Scrum red.
It's a scrum red. Or has it been touched down by blue over the line, and that's why it's a Welsh scrum? Take your pick, it's a Welsh scrum.
You spotted the rain. Wales put the ball in behind, and then we saw the pace of Rhys Zamet. If that book kick had been into the dead ball area, I think he might have got past Dumortier, who was absolutely flying. And as the Frenchman slid on the floor and fumbled, then regathered the ball. He was hit in the back by Josh Adams, driven over the line. Josh Adams unnecessarily patting him on the head.
I'd say that was more of a hair rub.
Yeah, some sort of housery.
Yes, definitely. As we see coming onto the field, Bastien Chouleroux, only his 3rd cap, his first appearance of the tournament, is onto the field. The Montpellier 2nd row. I mean, big moments for so many of these players here. Everyone at the back of their mind, whether they admit it or not, will know, especially if you're not a regular first choice player, that selection for the World Cup is at the forefront of the coach's minds. Who is and isn't going to make it in what could be an incredible year for France? As the ball comes away through Williams, and referee says no, ball's been knocked on. Ontomac came round, the ball got knocked forward as Ontomac tackled Williams, and we restart then with a Welsh scrum 5 metres from the French line.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay, that's a knock on in the tackle.
Yeah, just that pick-up. Tried to play left. Immediately shut down.
We'll go again.
Yeah, there's nothing in that as we see the replay. Dupont just gave him a hug and the ball went forward off Dupont's right hand.
Great position here for Wales. It's the sort of moment in a match that if we were playing this at the Principality, the whole crowd would be absolutely bellowing out. But we're at the Stade de France, and they're going to come in a different direction. The tricolours are starting to be waved as we're now on 61 minutes. France 34, Wales 14. The ball bounces out the back of the scrum. Coming forward to take the ball is Adams. Quick ball then to Faletau. Spun out, Wainwright was waiting. Williams manages to get the ball away. It's Beard who's on it now. He's down on the ground, 5 metres left to go, and the French defensive line, designed by Sean Edwards, continues to hold. They're into about phase number 5 now, Wales. They decide to track back towards the middle of the field. And a huge hit goes in for Wales. They managed to suck that one up, but they haven't made any distance, and it's a penalty to France, holding on the ball in the contact, and all of that effort comes to nothing. It's going to be a French penalty clearance.
Right in the middle of all that, you'll have heard the crowd with a collective gasp as the tackle went in. Wardy went low and smoked the ball carrier. And of course the next carry then is under pressure. France get over the top of the ball, win the turnover. All happens in the phase before because the quality of the tackle, one low, one high, got France onto the front foot. Wales couldn't recycle with any speed, then they're vulnerable, then France nick it.
Well, Wales have used a lot of their replacements now. Tommy Raffel is onto the field, Dylan Lewis is out there as well. And Talupe Faletau is the man who's going to take a seat. So 100 caps for Talupe Faletau as he goes and takes a seat. We should take a moment to reflect on an incredible achievement for him. He's been quite vocal, you have to say, throughout this Six Nations about how hard he has personally found it with everything that's gone on in Wales. But he has continued, and in and amongst those 100 caps have been some magical days in a Welsh shirt.
He's one of the very, very best. Sensational player, all aspects, fantastic athleticism, but his ball carrying ability, his work around the field and the breakdown, the technical skills of a number 8, and he's a winner. He's, well, bar the World Cup, he's got everything you can get.
It's very good, very good.
Oh, he's had a good afternoon, Talupe Faletau. He's going to be on the wrong end of this scoreline, but he's carried well. And he's now leaving it to the replacements and the few men who are still going there for the full 80. It's going to be Adam Beard, Aaron Wainwright and Justin Tipperick who keep going. Looks like it's Wainwright who's moved round to the back to number 8 as Rafael packs down on the blind side. That scrum has popped up in the middle. It's inside of the French half. It's penalty advantage. You have to say the French are told that they're standing up as Tompkins is on the ball. He manages to run out of a couple of tackles, but then he runs out of time as more shirts arrive and start swamping him. Dyer just receiving a little bit of ball, and they're going to come back for the penalty. Bigger is keen for it. He thought he would start taking it quickly, but they could drop this very nicely in the corner for a nice Welsh line-up, quite close to the French line.
Blue standing up.
And that'll be a real fillip there for the Welsh. It was quite an obvious penalty, and it's not often that France make mistakes at the scrum.
No, powerful from Wales. They were under serious pressure in the first half, and then towards the end of the first half they stabilised and obviously changed something, because they'd gone from being dominated to holding even, and now slightly on top with the changes that have been made by France.
France 34, Wales 14, 64 minutes on the clock here on 5 Sports Extra. Coming up a little bit later, we will be bringing you commentary of Chelsea against Everton. That one gets underway here at 5:25. If you want to follow the rugby, do get over to 5 Live, where England against Ireland, or Ireland against England, I should say, in Dublin, is at 5 o'clock. Right then, ball, big, spun out wide. Oh, Tipperick's got it. He's going to try and run round. He's going to be bumped into touch. No, he managed to keep the ball in play for Wales. Ball comes back once again. Wainwright, he goes down to the turf. 1 metre left for Wales. Try number 3, they've got it. Over the line goes Thomas Williams. They're back in this, Wales. They're making a real fist of it and taking their chances when they can. France 34, Wales 19.
And the small pocket of Wales supporters in the far corner, all the red shirts on their feet, as Wales enjoy a period where it's almost like France can see the finishing line, and they're fractionally switched off. Good play back to the short side there, and a good ball back inside from Tipperick. Thomas Williams has come on and made a real difference. A couple of tactical kicks and then darts around the base, spotted the chance there. France slow to react, and suddenly,
well, Warren Gatland's just flashed up in the coaching box as he watches this conversion. Wales are within a sniff of this fixture all of a sudden. convert this from Bigger, then get another try. And this becomes a very interesting game as Bigger does send it over. So France 34, Wales 21. 3 tries for Wales to 4 from the French. Could this, Paul Grayson, get interesting in the next 14 minutes?
Great question. Let's see what France have got.
You not missed it, Meg. Come on.
I suspect.
May she rest in peace.
I suspect that might just be the wake-up call that France need to make sure they finish strong. Opportunity here from the restart to get deep into Wales half and take control of the ball again.
Wow, a lot of Wales fans out there right now getting a little bit excited about what could be about to unfold. A lot of French fans saying, no,
Use it now, please.
time to close this game out. Start being ruthless. Stay switched on, stick to process. Everything that Matt Dawson we heard saying at half-time about how you become a true champion team. As ball is down on the ground, it's a penalty to Wales. Crossing there from France as they went up to gather the ball inside of the Welsh half. Bigger, he's just trying to make sure that France are kept honest. He's missed touch though with that penalty. Ontomac has managed to gather it. He's going to send it out of play. So the urgency there of Dan Bigger has lost Wales about 10 metres, but they've taken the line out quickly. Here they come once again. Rees-Zammit with the hack through. He needs to put his players on side. He's managed to chase it himself. Penaud is there. Of all the people to pick up the ball, that's probably the worst one for Wales, and he's still going. Still Penaud on the ball. He can see where the player is out wide. It's his opposite number when it comes to Welsh French shirts in Demortier. He couldn't keep going. Now Penaud is down injured as well. He needs some help, Penaud. He's appealing. I don't think he's going to get anything. I don't know if he's having a little bit of a football roll on the floor as the ball comes back now for Wales. That's going to be sent down the field then. Penaud needs to get up and get involved in this. I think he's okay. He was playing for the penalty. Ball comes back now to Ontomac. He uses his right boot. He's going to send that back. It's going to be gathered now to Dan Bigger. Bigger sends it back. It goes out of play on this near side, and we restart then with a French lineup. That could have got all very exciting very quickly, and Penaud is still very upset that he's had nothing.
Yeah, he wants the replay to show that he was obstructed or hit after he got rid of the ball. Lovely line break from a loose kick by Rees-Zammit, and he got bumped into by a Welsh player and he's hit the deck. Stayed down, asking 80,000 French people to help the referee with a video review. I don't hear anything coming in. They'll play on.
Call me old school, Paul Grayson, but sometimes Damien Penaud, just get up and get on with it.
Yep.
Apologies if anyone likes that kind of stuff, but we're not always a massive fan of the theatrics. As France end up with a free kick from the line out. Too many fun and games going on for our Australian referee Nick Berry, and it's France who are going to get rid of this ball. They're 15 metres inside of their own half, 15 metres from the near side touch as well, and Ontomac, Toulouse fly half, sends it down the field. You can see they're waiting to gather the ball as Adams, he calls for the mark, and everything just a little bit of wind taking out of the sails of both teams at the moment after what was an incredibly exciting sort of 10-minute period where Wales have really played themselves into contenders in this fixture with the scoreline at France 34, Wales 21. Everyone almost nervous to do anything as Bigger goes up brilliantly to take the ball in the air, and he wins it against his opposite number in Ontomac, and the ball is down on the floor, and Wales just managing to get it as France are warned not to get their hands on the ball as it goes out of play on this near side, but it is out on the full. A mistake there by Wales as we have a player down injured for the Welsh. Is it Bigger? Yes, it is. I don't ever worry too much when Dan Bigger goes down, because he always goes down, and I think it's impossible for him to ever return and then gets up like nothing's happened.
Yeah, absolutely right, particularly after he's done something really good. There's not many people better in the air than Dan Bigger, whether that's chasing his own kicks or filling in at full-back in the backfield. He really is sensational at that.
It really was a great take in the air as well against his opposite number. Lovely show and go there by Dupont, who once again slips on the deck out there. Remember, we did just have that little bit of rain that only lasted about 5 minutes, but it's caused a really slippery track here at the Stade de France as it's French ball on this near side. They're trying to ride through the waves here and surf their way out towards the middle of the field at the moment. France taken forward by Danty. He's crashing forwards and doing what Jonathan Danty just does, that nice partnership he's developed in the last few years with Gaël Fickou. Danty happy to bust through when required. Going to come down on this near side now. Nobody could take the ball clearly. Frustration there by Demortier, who sort of slipped over as he went to get the ball. But Josh Adams has it, and he says, do you know what? Get out of my 22. Just get out.
Okay, great.
Good take from Josh Adams. Penaud still is with his nose slightly out of joint after being ignored for his theatrics. Got bumped there in the chase. Took the bump, pointed at the referee. A little bit petulant, to be honest.
Well, this hasn't been 10 classic minutes, but that was a brilliant take in the air by France. It was Ntamack who took it. He didn't like being bettered before, and they're coming towards this near side. Hacked through ball there by Ramos. It's still going. Oh, it's going to go out of play just inside of the 20. They've managed to break the flag on the near side. That's quite hard to do. It's been absolutely smashed. Let's listen to the referee.
It's a goal line drop out. Just wait till they're behind.
Judge!
5 metres.
Judge, man, fucking look!
I do apologise for any language that you might have just heard there on 5 Sports Extra. That came through the referee's mic of some frustration going on the field right now.
An opportunity there to take a quick one just back to this right-hand side. It might have been replacement scrum half. Slightly angry with his winger for not concentrating.
Well, it's a goal line dropout for Wales. It's gathered by France, and they're running forward now inside of the Welsh half. They're 10 metres inside. They look to the big man that is Rida Vardy of La Rochelle to go forwards. Only his 7th cap today, the 27-year-old, but yet another player off the conveyor belt for them as they hack through Penaud on the far side, gathered by Bigger, who reads that really well. France have done that a few times now as they're attacking inside of the 22, and Wales, they're just keeping one player back just in case for that reason, that sort of sweeping position. As Wales have it, they've got to play themselves out of the 22 now. We've seen a lot of very laboured Welsh exits so far in this fixture, and it could be like that again as the French players just pound down on top of the Welsh players. No one's really back at the moment. It looks like it's going to come to a Williams box kick. Someone needs to chase it down the far side. It's going to be Dyer, calmly waiting out there. This Dyer almost dispatches Penaud, but not quite. Somehow Penaud, he always seems to have more time on the ball than anyone else. Manages to get the ball away. It's been knocked on by Wales now as France come on the attack over the halfway line once again. Aldrit, La Rochelle, captain of France. Huge bulk of a man who's been pounding into these Welsh players, and the clock now just is not Wales' friend. You have to say, France 34, Wales 21 on the near side. It's then pushed forward by Ramos. It's another foot chase. He's done the same trick he did before, but this time it's forced into touch by Thomas Williams, and it will be. All they are saying, I'm just watching the referee, he has got his arm out, he's changed it. He did have his arm out in the Welsh direction. It's definitely a French line-up.
Lovely from France. The box kick out from Wales. Looked like they'd managed to scrag him into touch. France kept the ball alive, and then it's just great play, directing the traffic from Ntamack at fly half, using Aldrit off his shoulder. Then Challeura is an absolute monster, gets him on the front foot. He plays flat to the line, brings in Ramos. Ramos slides the ball in behind, forcing the Welsh to run the ball out in their own 22. Really good stuff.
Changes here for France coming onto the forward. Macalou into the back row. Looks like Charles Ollivon is off as a result. Antoine Dupont, he's off the field on his Maxime Lucu. They might have made another change as well that haven't quite clocked yet, but they will in a few moments' time.
We're really patient here.
Right, big moment then for France, just to put this game to bed, make sure Wales have no hope. Line out for France, 5 metres then from the Welsh line. We haven't really seen a big drive from France from this position throughout the whole fixture. This has been one of their first real opportunities. It is inching forward slowly. Lucu is there at the back now, the new scrum half, playing penalty advantage to the French as well. He can't find the ball. Penalty to the French. You heard the referee there. Red bringing down the maul, and they have to be careful here, because I can tell you France will keep doing the same thing again and again and again as Ontomac goes back and just has a little bit of a chat there. Lee Halfpenny now onto the field. He's slotting in at fullback for Wales, and it looks like it's going to be a tap and go. My advice to anyone doing a tap and go after recent weeks of the Six Nations, make sure you tap it. Right then, ball comes away this time through Malvaca. Luku switching back direction. Donti was there waiting, still not over the line. France want try number 5. Popped off ball once again, still a metre to go. It's inches away. They're going to have to recycle and work through at least one more phase. Aldrit is there. Popped off ball to Aldrit. That's really good defence by Wales. Oh, is it? They managed to spin out of that, the French. It's loose ball on the floor. We're playing penalty advantage again to the French. Could it be a card for someone in a red shirt? Still French ball. Still penalty advantage. Luku looks up. There are fresh legs there. This time it's Malvaca who's decided to go again. He's got support there by Vardy. He was trying to make himself available, and it's all about the big men. Vardy goes again. He goes down on the floor. The patience here from France is impressive. They're not going to try and force this. This is winding down the clock. This is exhausting Wales. And now it comes out to Ontomac. Waiting out there is Ramos. Ramos gets the final pass out the way into the corner. Who's there? That man, Damien Penaud, touches down. He loves a couple of tries in a match, and he's done it all over again. A 5th try for France, and their patience is exceptional. It is now France 39, Wales 21, conversion to come.
Another walk in after all the hard work is done. He said excellence looks simple. Damien Penaud's job was the last piece of that jigsaw. I must say, there's some superb tackling by the Welsh replacements. Bradley Roberts has got some biff, but ultimately they just run out of numbers. A wide ball, Ramos gets on the outside, gets his arms free, hands it off to Penaud, strolls in at the corner. Slight sigh of relief from France.
I don't think Thomas Ramos has missed a kick at goal today either, which is exceptional.
You've just done him there though, haven't you?
I probably have.
Right on the right-hand touchline.
I'll take that. But every single one of them has been from the edges. He hasn't had an easy one. Everyone has had to be turned in. One came off the post, and as we said, we're talking about it now, so he's absolutely going to duff this, isn't he? But yeah, it is just the sign of a championship side. As once again, the France, I think they're not allowed to drink any water until they've gone into the huddle and shouted at each other. That is the format that they default to. As once again, La Marseillaise sings out around the Stade de France as they close in now on the final whistle. France 39, Wales 21. This conversion from Ramos to come, who finally makes his run up right boot. A little bit of a stab, but he's got it. We didn't jinx it, and he's 100% at goal in this game. As Wales come back for more punishment, it is France 41, Wales 21, a minute on the clock.
Great kick from Ramos. Not even the commentator's curse can get him today.
Right then, from the restart, ball comes away. Get to see Tommy Raphael have a little bit of a run, makes a couple of metres. France are trying to defend themselves inside of their own half of the field. Wales looking for a little bit of something to hold on to. The last time that they'll be playing until it's the build-up to the World Cup. I mean, they're on 3 tries. They can still get a try bonus from this fixture as it comes back in the end towards North in the middle of the field. I mean, Tompkins and North, not many people that were expecting that combination after the opportunities, as we said earlier, given to Hawkins and Grady so far in this campaign. Pushed out again to Rio Dyer. It's going to finish with a try. Rio Dyer goes over for Wales. France are completely switched off, and the young man flies in the corner, and that is a 4th try for Wales at a vitally important moment at the end of this Six Nations campaign. The conversion will be the end of the match, but that gives Wales something to come away with. It's France 41, Wales 26, conversion to come.
You can just see, I think the replacements have really made a difference. You can see that their attacking game and their attacking shape is starting to develop under the guidance of Alex King, because they've got numbers in the right places, and when they get it right, they do create space. Brilliant footwork from Dyer and pace to get in at the corner. So tough championship for Wales, maybe some green shoots.
Well, at this final whistle, we will check in on Dublin before we go off here on 5 Sports Extra. Don't forget, coming up 5:25, first half of Chelsea against Everton. The second half of that will be on 5 Live once Ireland against England is complete. Dan Bigger then, with the final action of this match at the Stade de France. It's not Dan Bigger, it's Lee Halfpenny who stepped up to take this one. High into the air, and that is good from Halfpenny, who does make his mark on the match. And full time here at the Stade de France. Of course it was a French win. In the end they really put their foot down, but they did at times just lax, let Wales back in. Full-time score is France 41, Wales 28, as the fireworks go off around the Stade de France. Paul Grayson just holds on to his heart because he wasn't quite expecting that. But let's be honest, that was a great performance by France. Some wonderful flashes. They never reached top gear.
No, they didn't. The highs for them are very, very high. They play a game that is so easy on the eye, but it's based on hard work. It's based on perfect fundamentals at times, and we talked about it during the game about just drilling the aspects of the game that make it look simple. They were comfortably better than Wales, but Wales didn't roll over and give up. They fought back. They're good value for their 4 tries. I think there's plenty out of that in analysis they'll be able to pick out and say, this is starting to come, we're getting better here. But France, that end of term feel, yes, they were occasionally just a little bit too relaxed, but always gas in the tank to pull away.
Well, have France done enough? That is the big question. The final score here with the bonus point is 41 points to 28. If for any reason Ireland slip up against England, that points difference could be vital. Let's head over to Dublin right now and speak to Chris Jones. Chris, what is the atmosphere like at the Aviva?